Some people work for a paycheck, others work for survival, but the rarest ones, they work without knowing their lives are about to change forever. Jake Carter wiped the sweat from his brow, his muscles aching as he hammered another wooden plank into place. The old barn creaked with every gust of wind, barely standing after years of neglect. He had taken the job out of desperation. As a struggling single dad, every dollar mattered. His construction business had slowed to almost nothing, and with rent overdue and his son needing new shoes for school, he couldn't afford to be picky. So, when a woman named Emma Walker put up a handwritten ad at the local hardware store, "Need help fixing up an old barn, paying cash," he had called immediately. She had sounded kind over the phone, but nothing prepared him for meeting her in person. Emma wasn't the elderly farmer he had expected. She was young, maybe early 30s, with piercing green eyes and a quiet confidence. Her jeans were worn, her boots covered in dust, but she carried herself like someone who knew exactly what she was doing. "This barn's been in my family for generations," she had explained. "It deserves better than being forgotten." Jake had nodded, not asking questions. A job was a job. Now, after days of grueling labor, the barn was finally coming back to life. As he stepped back to admire his work, Emma appeared beside him, holding 2 cold lemonades. "You work fast," she said, handing him a glass. Jake took a long sip, exhaling. "Been doing this kind of work my whole life." Emma studied him for a moment. "What made you get into construction?" Jake hesitated. Most clients never cared about his story. But something about Emma made him answer honestly. "Needed something stable after my wife passed." He glanced away. "Raising a kid on your own?" Emma's expression softened. "You have a son?" Jake nodded. "Ethan, he's 10, smart kid, loves the outdoors." He chuckled. "Probably why he begged me to take this job, told me farms are way cooler than office buildings." Emma smiled. "Sounds like he's got a good dad." Jake shrugged. "I try." A comfortable silence settled between them. Then Emma took a deep breath. "Jake, there's something I should tell you." He raised an eyebrow. "What is it?" She turned to face him fully. "This isn't just a small farm." Jake frowned. "What do you mean?" Emma exhaled. "I own thousands of acres. This land has been in my family for over a century." Jake froze. "Wait. You own all of this?" Emma nodded. "The barn is just the beginning. I've been looking for someone to help rebuild everything, someone I can trust." Jake's heart pounded. And Emma's lips curled into a small smile. "And I think I just found him." Jake blinked, unsure if he had heard her right. "You want me to rebuild all of this?" he asked, gesturing toward the rolling farmland stretching far beyond the barn. Emma nodded. "If you're interested." Jake let out a breath, running a hand through his hair. "Emma, this is a lot bigger than just fixing a barn. You're talking about a full-scale restoration." "I know," she said, her voice steady. "And I need someone who isn't just looking for a paycheck, someone who cares about the work they do." She met his gaze. "That's you, Jake." His throat tightened. "Someone who cares." Most jobs saw him as just another worker, just another guy passing through. No one had ever needed him for something bigger than a repair. But here was Emma offering him something more than just a job. A purpose. He exhaled, glancing around. I don't have a crew. It's just me." Emma smirked. "Then I guess I'm hiring you first." Jake hesitated. He wanted to say yes. God, did he want to. This could change everything. Stability. A future for Ethan. But there was still one problem. "I can't take on something this big without knowing how I'm going to take care of my son," he admitted. "It's just us, and I can't be away from him all the time." Emma's expression softened. "Bring him here." Jake's eyebrows shot up. "What?" She shrugged. "You said he loves the outdoors, right? Let him run around, explore. He can help with the animals. This farm is meant to be full of life again." Jake didn't know what to say. No one had ever included Ethan in the equation before. Emma smiled. "You don't have to decide right now. Just think about it." Jake looked around at the land. the endless possibilities stretching before him. For the first time in a long time, he wasn't staring at just another job. He was staring at a fresh start. And maybe, just maybe, the beginning of something even bigger. That night, Jake sat on the edge of his worn-out couch, staring at the ceiling while his son Ethan lay asleep in the next room. Emma's offer played over and over in his head. A full-time job, stability, a chance to rebuild something real. But more than that, she wasn't just offering him work. She was offering a place for Ethan, too. And that meant everything. The next morning, as Jake made breakfast, Ethan sat at the table, swinging his legs. "So, are you going to fix more barns today, Dad?" Jake chuckled. "Maybe. How'd you feel about living on a farm instead of just visiting one?" Ethan's eyes lit up. "For real?" Jake hesitated. It'd be a big change. Ethan grinned. "Can I ride horses?" Jake smirked. "I don't know. We'd have to ask Miss Emma." Ethan nodded seriously. "Then we should go right now." Jake laughed, ruffling his son's hair. Decision made. By the afternoon, he was back at the farm. Emma stood outside the barn, watching as Jake pulled up in his truck. When he stepped out, she raised an eyebrow. "Well?" Jake exhaled, looking around. The rolling hills. The open sky. Then he turned to her and smirked. "Where do we start?" Emma's lips curled into a knowing smile. And just like that, Jake wasn't just a worker anymore. He was home. Sometimes the right opportunities don't come in office buildings or big cities. Sometimes they're waiting in the quiet places where life begins again. The next few weeks changed everything. Jake threw himself into the work, and for the first time in years, he wasn't just fixing things, he was building a future. The barn wasn't the only thing that needed repair. The fencing around the pasture was falling apart, the irrigation system was outdated, and one of the old cabins on the property had potential, if someone put the work into restoring it. Jake did. Ethan thrived on the farm. He spent his days running with the dogs, helping Emma feed the horses, and learning more about farming than he ever could in a classroom. Every night, he came home covered in dirt but grinning from ear to ear. And every night, Jake would sit on the porch of the cabin Emma let them move into, staring at the stars, feeling something he hadn't felt in years. Peace. One evening, as he hammered the last nail into the fence, Emma walked up beside him, arms crossed. "Not bad, city boy." Jake smirked. "I think I'm earning my boots." Emma chuckled. Then her expression softened. "You're really staying, huh?" Jake exhaled, looking over the land that once felt like just another job, but now felt like home. "Yeah," he said. "I think I am." Emma smiled. "Good." A comfortable silence settled between them. The sun dipped below the hills, casting golden light over the fields. Then Emma spoke again, quietly, almost like a confession. "You know, I wasn't just looking for a worker." Jake turned to her, raising an eyebrow. Emma kept her gaze on the horizon. "I needed someone who believed in this place, who could see what I see." Jake studied her for a moment. "And?" She finally looked at him, a small smile playing on her lips. "And I think I found him." The wind blew softly, carrying the scent of fresh-cut grass. Jake didn't say anything. He didn't have to, because for the first time in years, he wasn't searching anymore. He had already found exactly where he was meant to be. Sometimes life doesn't take you where you planned, it takes you somewhere better. The real question is, do you recognize it when you get there?